This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Make another smart choice with Auto Quote Explorer to compare rates from multiple car insurance companies all at once. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Welcome to the No Guilt Mom podcast. I'm your host, JoAnn Crone, joined here by the brilliant Brie Tucker.
Why, hello, buddy. How are you?
I had preposition fear there a little bit, Brie. I was like, by, with, which one? Which one? I don't know.
Between Brie. Wait, that didn't work.
Yeah, no.
That's a
not that
preposition,
one.
not an adjective.
Yes. Yes, all the prepositions. Well, today we have a spectacular person that we're going to introduce you to. Brie, have you ever tried rock climbing?
Indoors at a kiddie place, I have tried to do like climbing rocks, and they had to send up the staff to get me down. So no.
Oh, no.
It was so embarrassing. I'm literally at like a kiddie jump place that has a rock wall. My kids ascended and descended fine, and I get up there and they're like, ma'am, just let go, like your 10-year-old did. And I'm like, I can't, I'm too scared.
Oh, you're in the bouldering section. I know that section in the rock gym.
Yeah. But you
Rock
have,
climbing
right?
Indoors.
Well, yeah, you got to start small. Yeah.
Yes, but I've always admired the rock climbers who are out there and free climbing, and I am so excited to talk with today's guest. It is Emily Harrington. Emily is a world-renowned rock climber and adventurer who has been open and honest about the realities of balancing her career with motherhood and the resilience to push forward despite criticism in a male-dominated sport. She is a North Face sponsored athlete and global ambassador whose accomplishments include becoming the first woman to free climb Golden Gate on El Capitan in under 24 hours, earning 5 U.S. national championship titles, summiting Mount Everest, skiing the majority of the world's 8,000-meter peaks, and was a part of an expedition to climb an unnamed and never summited peak in Myanmar. So with that, let's get on with the show. Emily, welcome to the No Guilt Mom podcast. We are so excited to have you here.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
And I have to say, like, watching you climb and viewing the footage of you trying El Capitan, and first of all, Brie, if you saw El Capitan, you'd be like, oh my gosh, this woman is amazing. Because the sheer, like, it just looks like it goes straight up,
Yeah.
Emily. Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, it mostly does.
Did you? I'm going to have to ask because I have seen El Capitan because my oldest son does do rock climbing. So they're really into more so the indoor, but still, I see all this stuff with them. Did you do the thing where you like hammock camped on the side of it?
So I have before. That is how most people climb El Cap because it is so big.
That's so scary.
But I did it in a day, and that's kind of like a different thing. It's a bit of like the sleeping on the wall is cool because you can kind of take your time, and it's like a vertical camping trip, and you can like just climb a little bit each day, and you have all your food and water with you. But doing it in a day is you're basically just rock climbing for almost 24 hours straight.
Yeah.
So you just like start climbing, and then you don't stop until you get to the top.
You're just hauling butt the whole day.
Yeah. So I've done both, but I really wanted to do it in a day because it is a bit like a bigger challenge to do it that way.
yeah. How do you go about like fueling yourself and resting while you're like climbing for 24 hours?
On like a vertical climb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a really good question. People ask me that a lot, and everybody's a bit different. So when you are climbing in a day, there are like little ledges and places that you can't see them from far away, but there's little ledges and places you can stand and kind of like hang in your harness and rest. So you are kind of like resting periodically on your way up the wall. But for fueling, I like to compare it to like a marathon or an ultra marathon. I try to like eat and drink a little bit almost each hour and
Okay.
just kind of like constantly fueling. You don't really have meals really. At least I don't. And yeah, I prefer like a mix of fuel, but like pretty easy fuel that you can like carry with you that is not too heavy. So like nuts and dried fruit and like chips and salty things sometimes because cramping is kind of an issue for me when you like start to sweat a lot and you're losing a lot of sodium.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I couldn't imagine it. I have done marathons and the
Yeah.
fueling during marathons, like But at 5 hours, when I finished that marathon, I am spent,
Yeah, but so
completely
you can
spent.
imagine
So
it.
yeah, but I mean,
It's the
like,
same
you're
idea.
doing 24. Like, that's
Yeah, so
I
maybe
mean,
it's like an ultra marathon, like a 100
Yeah.
miler or whatever,
Me, it's just like
yeah.
the scariest environment possible. Can you tell I'm afraid of heights? I don't know if that's come out yet in this episode, people.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about this a little bit because Emily, like you being a rock climber for most of your life, you have experienced falls from these heights. And you experienced one while you were trying to summit El Cap, correct?
Yeah, during one of the attempts, it was an accident, basically, I had an accident. We fall all the time in rock climbing, it's like 99.9% of the time, it's totally fine. But I did take a very bad fall. I made a couple mistakes that resulted in me taking a very bad fall. I went to the hospital, I had a concussion. It definitely went very bad, and I got very lucky.
How was it going back to the sport after that fall? First of all, how long did it take you to get back onto rock climbing after you had that fall?
That happened in November of 2019, and it was a very bad fall. I fell 50 feet, and I was in a section that actually wasn't super vertical. It was, like, more slab, like, less than vertical, and that actually can be more dangerous because there's things to hit on the way down. So I actually hit, like, a ledge before the rope could catch me, and I lost consciousness. It was very, very bad. There was a very serious fear of spinal cord injury, and thankfully, I actually walked out of the hospital that night
Oh,
after
wow.
MRIs and X-rays, everything. Did have a concussion, and so it was traumatic, and it was mentally and emotionally pretty hard, but
Uh-huh.
I think at the same time, I kind of recognized all the decisions that I made to put myself in that position, if that makes sense. What I was attempting to do, free climb this route in under 24 hours, was, like, more dangerous. I was taking more risk than I normally do in climbing, and because I was, like, not placing very much protection, and I was moving really quickly and all of these things, and so I recognized that I was taking more risk than I normally do, and I recognized that, like, that morning I woke up and I really didn't wanna go climbing. I really just wanted to be done. I wanted to, like,
Ah.
have success and, like, do the thing, and I didn't really wanna do the process part. I woke up and I was like, "I don't wanna be here. I don't wanna climb, but I really wanna get this over with. It's the end of the season. I wanna be done. I wanna, like, say that I've done this thing and I've achieved this goal." And I think
I
that was
get
a
that. I've
really
been there. Yeah.
yeah, but I think that was quite a dangerous mindset to be in, really wanting something to be done and not really appreciating the journey that it was gonna take to get there and the work that it was gonna take, so I was super distracted. I was moving really quickly and not feeling confident, but I was just really forcing it, and I was just really taking a lot of risk, like, not placing much protection at all. So after that accident, I kind of looked back and thought, "Okay, like, I made all of these mistakes along the way. There were all these red flags, and in the future, I can avoid this. I can prevent this from happening." And so it wasn't just a random accident that was out of my control. I felt like I had a lot of agency and a lot of responsibility for myself moving forward, and I could make a different decision the next time. So I felt actually like less traumatized because of that. It was like, "Oh, this was
Yeah.
all within my control. Like, I can change a lot of things moving forward, and I can avoid this from happening." There was obviously some nerves, like, when I went back to Yosemite the following year, but also, like, one of the, I guess, silver linings of the pandemic was the pandemic started in 2020, and I had no choice but to kind of stay home and just train in my garage, and I climb on an indoor wall as well, and so I just trained and, like, prepared my body and my brain to, like, go back a full year later when I had, like, a lot of time and space away from the experience and just approach it in a way that I felt truly ready.
That's so interesting. I love hearing your thought process on that, Emily, because you describe such a what could be a traumatic event that would take a lot of people off of rock climbing. And you gave yourself back that control and that agency, knowing what you can change and what you could do differently. And although there were nerves, you said, when you came back, you were able to overcome those because of that kind of control that you had and those changes that you could make. Did you ever feel kind of pressured by yourself to go back earlier than you felt you were able to?
Yeah, I think I probably would have gone back earlier had Yosemite not been closed for COVID. Like, I think I would have, like, forced myself to go back and, like, re-traumatize myself. Yeah, I'm not immune to that at all. I think I probably would have gone back, and who knows how it would have gone. I had no choice, so I just, like, kind of stayed the course and, like, took it as this sign to, like, just kind of auger in and put the work in to be better, the following year. I totally put pressure on myself in the same way that everyone else does.
It's one of those pandemic silver linings,
It
causing all
is.
of us to like step
Absolutely.
back, rest, and reassess. Well, coming up next, I want to ask you about while you were pregnant and how you continued rock climbing through pregnancy. And we'll get to that right after this. I got a skylight frame for my family, and let me tell you, it is now one of my favorite things in our house. I loaded it with photos from our vacations and photos of when my kids were younger and doing silly things. And my husband adds to it as well with photos from his phone. So it's this huge collaborative effort. And walking by our skylight frame in my kitchen each morning, it always makes me smile. So imagine gifting that same feeling. You can preload a skylight frame with tons of your favorite photos so that when your loved one opens it, it's already filled with memories. It's personal, it's meaningful, and honestly, it's way better than another scented candle. And here's the best part. It's so easy to use. No app, no subscription, no tech stress. You simply send your photos to the frame's email address and they pop up. So right now, Skylight is offering our listeners $20 off their 10-inch frames by going to myskylight.com/NGM. Go to myskylight.com/NGM for $20 off your 10-inch frame. That's myskylight.com/NGM.
DSW, Designer Shoe Warehouse, is the one-stop shop for all your footwear needs. With sneakers, boots, and everything in between, for every style, mood, and occasion, you'll definitely find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. DSW has what you need, but more importantly, they have what you didn't even know you wanted. You never know what you'll find at DSW. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or DSW.com.
You know, the holidays are supposed to be joyful, but let's be honest, between travel, gifts, hosting family, and all the last minute school events, it gets real chaotic. And somewhere in all that chaos, my budget used to completely disappear. But not this year because I've got Monarch. Monarch is this amazing all-in-one personal finance tool. It was named the best budgeting app of 2025 by the Wall Street Journal. And once I started using it, I immediately saw how fast my holiday spending was adding up. I had no idea how close I was to blowing my budget already. Monarch connects everything, spending, savings, investments, even your home value in one clean, easy interface. So no spreadsheets, just real control. And right now, Monarch is offering 50% off your first year just for No Guilt Mom listeners. Don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code NOGUILT at monarch.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code NOGUILT. So, Emily, while you were pregnant, you still rock climbed. And something that I found fascinating about you is that you climbed a 5.13 while pregnant. And I was looking up all of these like rock climbing levels. Can you kind of describe to our listeners like what that means?
Well, so we say it like 513, even though it
513,
doesn't really
okay.
make sense. The grading system it's actually originated from, it's called the Yosemite Decimal System, and that's like the American rating system. Europe has its own, Australia has its own, and there's like a conversion and everything. But essentially it's based on like third class, fourth class, fifth class. So third class is like literally just like walking on a flat path. And then
Okay.
fourth class is when you're kind of like scrambling a little bit, hiking a steeper hill, basically. And then fifth class is when you're hiking a steeper hill and you're having to like almost climb a little bit. You're using your hands at times. I'm sure you've been on like a hiking trail where you have to kind of like climb a little and use your hands. So then That's what the 5 stands for, is 5th class. And then we differentiate after that. We do 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 5.4, 5.5, all the way up to 5.10. And for some reason, decades ago, whoever like invented the grading scale was like, oh, instead of going to like 5.9 to 6, we'll just say 5.10. So 5.10 is 5.10. And then it gets like even more like delineated out into like 5.10A, 5.10B, C, D, and then you
Oh
go to
my
5.11.
God.
It makes no
So
sense.
So you basically have to take a test to learn
Yeah,
things just to
to
be able to
learn
rock
things.
climb.
And so
Just to
yeah, so
learn.
like so the hardest route in the world is the hardest grade anybody's ever climbed. And it's all subjective, right? It's a community
Mhm.
thing. Like you go
Yeah.
climb a route, you say, I think it's this hard. People come back, they repeat it. They say they either agree or they disagree. So the hardest route in the world is graded 515D. Let's see, I've climbed 514B. So that's like a very elite level
Yeah.
in climbing.
That is.
But if you think about like the amount of time that I've put into climbing, it's been like over 3 decades since I was 10 years old. I've got like my 10,000 plus hours. Like I climb,
At the
I
expert
probably
level.
climb, yeah, 20 to 30 hours a week. That's just like what I do. And so, yeah, when I was pregnant, it'd be like if you were like, well, I'm going to keep going to my yoga class, or I'm going to keep hiking, or I'm going to keep doing my thing, but at a lower level. That's what I did with climbing. It was like, I'm going to keep climbing because that's what I do and that's what makes me feel good. I'm just going to do it at a lower level and I'm going to do it a bit different. I wasn't like taking big falls or anything like that. Most of the time I had the rope, like I was top roping, which means that like the rope is above you the whole time. So you're not actually
Mhm.
falling. You're just like sitting back on the rope if you fall. But so yeah, I don't remember. I think I might have climbed 513, but like probably early on in my pregnancy.
Early
and
on the
then
Well,
and then later, at like 40 weeks, I was climbing like 511.
I don't
Um
know about you, JoAnn, but I honestly, Emily, the 3 of us, JoAnn, can you imagine being pregnant, belly showing pregnant, and being able to climb? I can't
I mean,
even imagine.
I think it does all have to do with what you're used to and what you're
Yeah.
trained for and all those things. I mean, you say you were climbing 511 while pregnant, Emily, and my jaw still drops because at my rock climbing gym, a 5'9" is very, very difficult for for me. And knowing that you were doing that, I'm like, oh my goodness. Because I remember while teaching and I was pregnant, I had trouble there because my belly would hit the smart board and draw on the board for me. And it was
Yeah.
ridiculous. So
That's what I'm all like,
Yeah.
yeah, climbing with a belly, I would think would be really hard because you're
It
not
is
used to
hard.
that. Yeah.
Super hard.
And in such a male-dominated sport, Emily, what was that experience like being pregnant? Did you get any support from athletes who were climbing with you, like any other female athletes in the field?
Yeah. I mean, the cool thing about climbing is actually like everybody in the mainstream kind of outside of the endemic climbing world thinks that climbing is a male dominated sport. It's actually not. It's probably
Okay.
50-50 at this point, especially when it comes to like the gym climbing, competition climbing, that sort of demographic. And I think like, as we progress through a few decades from now, there's going to be just like even more women climbing outdoors, climbing on El Capitan. Like it's changing so quickly. And the one thing that's really, really cool about the sport is it doesn't really discriminate in terms of like male, female, or body type. There is no specific body type that you need to have in order to like be a good rock climber. And that difference between men and women in terms of skill level and ability is very, very narrow, if at all.
Oh,
The
okay.
best
That's awesome.
some of the best climbers in the world are women. And I think the thing that's interesting is there haven't been that many mainstream female stories told about climbing. And I think that's where that like disconnect is. But some of the like greatest climbers in the world, especially right now, and the most well known are female. And so I think that's one thing to note that's like really cool about climbing. That said, I'm probably one of the first generations of like professional climber females who kind of made it to this life transition where I decided to have a child and got pregnant and continued to climb through pregnancy and was like very supported for it. I have a lot of peers my age who are women, also climbers, professional and non, but like very, elite level climbers. And it was really cool because we all kind of were going through it at around the same time. One of my very best friends, who's a professional climber, was like 6 months ahead of me. And then another one of my friends, actually the wife of the director of my film, she actually was pregnant with twins at the same exact time as me. And so we were all kind of like going through it together, and it did feel really amazing. And it felt like very normal to be able to go climbing while pregnant. Obviously, you get like the random stupid comments from people who just don't know anything, you know?
What was like the random stupid comments?
Oh, like
Please
I was
share.
at the climbing gym and I was climbing and I was like very visibly pregnant. And it was actually a woman, and she was like, "Oh my God, they let you do that here? Like they allow this?" Like as if it was like a liability thing. And I was like, yeah, I mean,
girl. Oh,
yeah,
girlfriend.
they do. And I don't know, maybe she was projecting, like maybe I have no idea. But
yes.
so there's random stuff like that. But mostly it was like really supportive and people are really excited. And yeah, we went on like a couple road trips when I was pregnant and climbed outside, and it was super fun.
And you did not have an easy pregnancy at all. There was a lot of stuff you had to deal with.
I dealt with a lot of stuff at the very beginning, and then I would say it was relatively normal. I had a subchorionic hemorrhage, I think is what it's called. It's like a lot of bleeding.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know what was going on. They thought it was like an ectopic pregnancy, like a cornual ectopic, which is like this very rare thing where it's like in your, it's not in the fallopian tube, but it's close to the fallopian tube, and they're super dangerous. And so that was really stressful at the beginning because I just like, you know, you just don't know what's going on, and the doctors don't really know. They're like, we don't really know because we're just looking at an ultrasound. And then I had to go to a specialist. The twist of it is because of the way that I am, I was like trying to go on an expedition during this time. I was trying to go to Baffin Island, which is like way up in the Arctic Circle. I was going on a ski trip, like an all-women's ski trip. I'm also like a really passionate skier, and that's kind of like my side thing that I do. And I really wanted to go on this trip, and basically it was like, am I going to be okay to go? Like, is it going to be like a high-risk pregnancy and I probably shouldn't go, or is it going to be like totally normal? And in the end, I got to go because they kind of like cleared it as a totally normal pregnancy after that. So that was like the first trimester was pretty stressful. And then after that, I would say everything was like more or less normal, relatively speaking. You know, like I have a lot of friends who, you know, their whole pregnancy was like a total nightmare. I was like quite okay after that.
That's good. But I mean, like any pregnancy with like bleeding and fears about that, it's horrendous to go through. And
add rock climbing to that. I mean, it makes it a little bit more dangerous and scary. As active as you weren't like just home down the street from a hospital while all of this was going on. Like you were wanting to travel.
Yeah. No, I was home and I was trying to go on the trip. So it was like my own.
Okay.
It was like my own thing of wanting to go. And basically the question was, how far are you away from a hospital if something goes wrong? Like all of these things. And so, yeah, in hindsight, I was like, wow, that was like pretty far on the risk spectrum. Like I might not have made the same decision again.
Where is the nearest hospital? Yeah, where is the nearest hospital in the Arctic
wasn't
Circle?
close.
I'm just curious.
It wasn't close. It was probably
it
was probably a 8-hour snowmobile ride.
Okay. Far. I'm making a note.
Decently far.
far.
Yeah.
Well, coming up next, Emily, I want to hear how you now see rock climbing now that you are a mom, since you did mention that you wouldn't have made the same choices now as you would then. And we're going to get to that right after this.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
When the holidays start to feel a bit repetitive, reach for a Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry and put your twist on tradition. A bold cranberry and winter spice flavor fusion, Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry is a refreshing way to shake things up this sipping season. And only for a limited time. Sprite, obey your thirst.
Meet the computer you can talk to. With Copilot on Windows, working, creating, and collaborating is as easy as talking. Got writer's block? Share your screen with Copilot Vision to help spark inspiration, and use Copilot Voice to have a conversation and brainstorm ideas. Or maybe you need some tech help. With Copilot Vision, Copilot sees what you see. Let Copilot talk you through step-by-step guidance so you can master new apps, games, and skills faster. Try now at windows.com/Copilot.
So, Emily, your child now is 3, correct?
Yeah, he's actually 3 today.
Oh my gosh, happy birthday to him.
I know. He's with his grandparents right now, but yeah, he's psyched.
Nice. We here at No Guilt Mom, we of course talk a lot about guilt. And a lot of the people in our audience listening right now, they feel so much guilt pursuing their own thing when they have kids. And that's why I think like your story is so important to show, first of all, how motherhood doesn't mean you give up everything that makes you you and you still do your own thing. So
Yep.
like, I guess my first question for you is like, how do you navigate those feelings of like being away from your son when you're doing your own thing? Or is it even an issue for you?
It's definitely on my mind being away from him. I think it's interesting because when I got pregnant, I was really determined to like not change who I am, and I really wanted to keep doing the same things. I think it's part of why I went on that trip to Baffin Island. I was like, this is my way of like not stopping. And I was really determined to not let it change me and all those things. And I think I was a bit naive because like the reason you have children and take that step in life is specifically to change you. It is to like shake something up in your life and have a different priority and have a different responsibility. And, once I had my son, I found myself like less excited to do things like that, less excited to take outsized risk. Yeah, just like less interested in it. It was almost like the value of those experiences was just much less than it was before I had my son because I'd rather spend time with him. That said, the beauty of being a rock climber and sort of an outdoor athlete is there are all different ways to challenge yourself and there are all different ways to experience the sport. So for the last 3 years, I have not stopped rock climbing and I have not stopped skiing and I have not stopped traveling. A lot of it involves like bringing our son with us to places that are easy to do with the family. We bring him to the climbing area with us a lot of days. And I don't have that big of an issue like leaving him for a day with, our nanny or his grandparents or whatever. I mean, a lot of people have childcare and stuff like that. Like climbing is my job. So I will go out and spend days climbing, like just me and my husband. Other days we'll bring him along. So I would say like I'm a bit different. I think where I am on the spectrum is quite a bit different than probably a lot of people. But yeah, I don't really have the desire to go on like a 6-week expedition because I don't want to miss things. And my husband is a high altitude climber and skier and a mountain guide. And so his job is quite hard in that way because it does entail like going away for really long periods of time. So he does leave for 6 weeks. And I see how hard that is for him and how much he struggles with that and how much he like wishes that he was at home. So I feel super lucky that I can kind of I just shifted my challenges and my goals and to be more conducive to the family. And I've been super happy with that. It's felt really good for me. I think it's funny because I just was so determined to not change and I was so afraid of changing. And then I did change and I've actually felt really happy with that and really content and almost more balanced than I have ever before. And I think it is a bit of a delusional to think like, oh, that having a kid's not going to change my life at all. I'm still going to do the things I love in the same way. It does change. And you do have to put your attention to your passions differently. I can't give as much to climbing, but that's great. And that's my choice. But I still do love climbing so much.
And I think that's the key, right? And I think you're hearing the same thing, JoAnn, too. Like, it's a spectrum when you have kids about the adjustments in your life from no kids to kids, right? And I think that there is a decent amount of us that either over time or due to whatever expectations there are, maybe within our relationship, within our family, within a society, within work, and we think that we have to shift 100% to being in the seat of just mom. You were so sure that you were going to continue the things that you were passionate about and have your family together that you never even fathomed giving up one for the other. And
that was like never on my radar. Thankfully, I had a lot of female mentors in the outdoor space who kind of showed me that it was possible to do both.
Yeah, because it can be scary.
I think those women probably didn't have the mentors that I had. They were like the first ones. And so they kind of pioneered that. And I think it was a really hard place to be in. I think there was a lot of judgment, and I think there was a lot of guilt and a lot of shame, and I think it was really hard. But someone's got to be first, right? And I was just lucky that I didn't have to be first. Like, I had a mentor who was just one of the most badass humans I've ever known, and she
Okay,
just kind of
shout
showed
out.
me.
Who's your mentor?
Her name was Hillary Nelson. She's a ski mountaineer, and she was a
Yay,
mom and a
Hillary.
badass. She's a big part of my film, the film that's out. Unfortunately, she passed away a couple years ago.
Oh,
So
I'm
that
so
also
sorry.
kind of like changed my perspective as well in terms of like how much risk I take in this world. And it was a skiing accident that she passed away in, and so that
I'm
was
so
like really,
sorry.
really hard. It was sad. It was really horrible. But at the same time, she was this person who I looked to as this, sort of like older sister figure of like, oh, I can still do this. Like, I can have children and maintain this lifestyle and continue to challenge myself and continue to be passionate. And so, when I met her, I was 25 years old and I was like, oh my God, she's doing it. I can totally do this. And that was like just so helpful for my entire career. So I think
You
thanks
need to
to
see
her.
it to be it.
Yeah. And
You have to see it. I feel like I had a very similar experience to you with even wanting to be a mom, Emily. Like, I didn't want to be
totally.
a mom. And then I saw one of my husband's cousins working as an entrepreneur and being a mom. And when you see how it works, then it's easier for you to imagine it in your own
Yeah.
life.
And
Yep.
it happens all the time, like when we're out climbing and we have our son with us. And people come up to us and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe you're here with your kid and you're climbing and you're like making it work. We're so afraid to do it. And I'm like, yeah, it is hard. It's harder. It's a lot more exhausting. Like, the end of the day, you feel like you did more than just go climbing. You feel like you went on an expedition. The way we think about it in our terms is it's like being on a lifelong expedition at this point. We're just like in it. We have to be organized. We got to like think ahead if we want to do the things that we want to do, but it's totally worth it to do it. And so we're doing it. And it's cool when people like see that and they're like, oh my God, it's possible. That's so cool to see. And I think it makes people think a little bit different. Like, it's not impossible. Like, people do this and it works.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Emily, we like to finish every episode with something that you're excited about. So what is something coming up in your life that you're excited about?
Well, I'm excited about my son's birthday today. I actually baked a cake for the first time. So
That's awesome. Do you feel like you were successful with the cake?
Well, we'll see. I baked like the layers yesterday,
Those
and
are
then I
so
have to make the
hard.
frosting. I know, but he's really excited. He wanted a strawberry cake with rainbow sprinkles with a rainbow. So
Oh
like
my
I'm trying to
gosh.
do that. So
You got
that was
it.
what I'm excited
You know
about
what?
today.
He's gonna love whatever you come up with. That's what I love about 3-year-olds. Am I right,
I know
JoAnn?
he's gonna be so
they're like,
excited.
cake.
Yeah, he's
Everything
psyched.
is
So I'm
amazing.
excited about his birthday today. We're going to like a kid's construction site. He's gonna get to like drive a bulldozer and like a front loader in Vegas, right? Like, they have
Oh
everything.
my
in
gosh,
Vegas.
that sounds amazing. I'm like, my jaw was on the floor. I'm like, wait, a kid's Bob the Builder in real life?
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds amazing. And your film, Girl Climber, is
Oh,
coming
yeah,
out
and I
to
have a
streaming
movie.
next year, hopefully. Yeah, and you have a movie.
Emily's like, it's my kid's 3rd birthday. Oh, and I've got a movie coming out.
I've
but,
got a movie.
whatever.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Yeah, it is called Girl Climber. It has been in theaters for a few months now. It did an IMAX run as well. It's on a streamer called Jolt right now, so you can rent it. But yeah, early next year it'll be out on streamers. And
I
yeah,
can't
it's about
wait to
rock
see
climbing.
that.
So exciting. Well, Emily, thank you so much for joining us today. And you are such an example. You're like the model for everybody else out there who wants to keep pursuing their passions and also do motherhood as well, which you show is totally possible. So thank you again. And until next time, remember, the best mom is a happy mom. Take care of you. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks for stopping by.
If you'd like to support the show further, you can share episodes with your loved ones, leave a positive review, or follow us on social media at No Guilt Mom. You could also show your love by visiting our amazing podcast sponsors. We have a link in the show notes.
There's fishing. And then there's fishing. Out here, you're after dinner. Online, hackers are after your data. They'll bait you with fake emails, lookalike sites, anything to lure you in. But with Cisco Duo's end-to-end phishing-resistant access control, Every login, every device, every user stays protected. Looks like no one's biting today. Cisco Duo. Phishing season is over. Learn more at duo.com.